And we are live back with another episode of Real Chill Conversations. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So I posted this topic in the group, and I posed a question, and it was, would you support your partner if they decided that they wanted to stay home with the kids while you go out and work? And there were some comments, there was some activity, some engagement on it. And so I was doing a little bit of like behind the scenes research and like looking up statistics and things like that, and looking at the numbers. And since 2020, like right around the time when we hit the pandemic type situation and more people were having to stay home and couldn't go into the office and things like that, the numbers of dads that were staying at home has steadily been on the increase since those, now we're 3 years past COVID shutdown. And now a lot of workplaces are in either still a remote capacity or they're hybrid. Many companies have resumed, full time back in the office, working, a normal schedule. But there's still a lot of companies that are giving you the opportunity to work either all the time from home remotely or work sometime from home and then work sometime, in the office. And so, when I was thinking about it, I was wondering, if you were in a situation, whether you were married or in a relationship with someone significant, but you had children together, and let's say for whatever reasons, due to maybe income, changes in income, or after school not being able to accommodate your kids, you might not get off work until 7:30 or 8 o'clock, but you have to have the kids picked up by 6 o'clock or 6:30. So maybe that aftercare wouldn't work for you. What if you needed the care, but you don't have the ability to hire an outside caregiver to take care of your children, but your significant other suggests, hey, why don't I just stay home with the kids? Because the money that we spend on daycare facilities and after school programs and all of that, it really doesn't equate to me making a whole lot more money. Maybe that might be the situation, or that might be the case. And so, in some of the research that I was doing, it was saying that this has been more and more a common practice since the whole shutdown and the pandemic of people staying home. But women are more interested in getting that type of support from their significant other. And I don't want to call it switching roles necessarily, because you're not switching out for being the mom. You're still dad, but it's just you that is home with the kids. And maybe that gives you an opportunity to manage a business that you have going on. Maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you own a small business. And so you have the freedom and the flexibility in your schedule to be able to be home with the kids or get them on the bus and get them off the bus while your significant other goes into work and her schedule is rigid and it's firm and it's not flexible when she can come and go. She can't just make her own hours. She's got to be there 8 to 5 or 9 to 6, 10 to 7, whatever that schedule might be. So I wanted to talk about that and hear your thoughts, and we'll engage in the comments that we get tonight. Hopefully you guys are tuned in and will chat it up with us and tell us what you think about it. But how do you think? How do you think it you would react or respond, or what would be your answer if your significant other suggested that they stay home with the kids while you go and work?
Yes, I mean, I am actually for this. I think it's a good thing. As long as the household is not suffering.
Right.
So I say that because um, there are situations that even though some people, may not want their kids to go to daycare. I was one of those, I didn't for whatever reason, some people just don't trust it, or some people don't have the funds to do it and stuff
But
like that.
you at one point were watching kids. I know you've helped me out quite a few times with watching my kids so that I could go to work, and because their dad was working and whatever was going on with after school or whatever. And I know you had your little thing going on with doing that.
My
Um,
daycare. So yeah, so see, even though I decided to be at home with the kids, I still had a hustle,
right,
because I said, okay, I'm cutting an income. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Like I can't just let him do everything,
right,
right? So yeah, I was like, well, this is good because I get to help my kids with their homework. I'm at home, I'm more
right,
attentive to what they're doing. I get to cook and everything while I'm at home. So
right,
I said, okay, I'm a type of person, I don't like to cut my income.
right.
So I said, come up with something. I love kids.
Hmm.
I have a lot of kids. So I was like, I love kids. I have a lot of kids. Why not do a daycare
Right,
downstairs? That's when I was living in the house. But even when I was living in an apartment, I still did that because I knew that one income was not going to be enough.
right,
So I definitely, try to do that. And I mean, I feel like if you could do it and your family is not going to be struggling, and you all have extra money, and I'm not talking about just let ends meet,
right,
I'm
right,
talking about having extra income, because there's a lot of things that your kids gonna want to do.
right,
You want to take trips, you want to be in a calm environment, and I feel like some people put themselves in a situation where it's just to meet the household needs, and then that's when the fight starts. And believe it or not being financially stable cause a lot of chaos in a
it
relationship.
does. There's so much chaos that surrounds financial instability, financial struggles, being in a situation where you have a household that you have to take care of and manage, but you're paycheck to paycheck or not even making it from paycheck to paycheck. By
Mhm.
the time the next paycheck it rolls around, you're like, you got 3-4 days where you're like, okay, I got to hold on until that direct deposit hits, because we just not going to make it. Nobody wants to be in that type of situation. And I don't think you should put your family and put your household in that type of situation. But if you think that it's in the best interest of your family and your household, to maybe take a step back. Um, Maybe you want to go back
If
to school.
there's an emergency or something, I think it'll be different.
Right,
Like if somebody got sick,
right,
then you have no choice. You know what
right.
I'm saying? But
Yeah. But let's say your partner wants to change careers and maybe needs to go to school, and is doing their classes in between managing what needs to be done for the kids, getting them off to school, getting picking them up from school, getting them started on homework because you're still at work or what have you. I mean, I just think there needs to be an understanding, and I would certainly support this, if my spouse said, hey, I want to stay home, with the kids, and you know you go out there and work. But what is that going to do to our household? How is that going to impact us? So if it's going to cause a problem, if we're not going to be able to live in the manner in which we've become accustomed, that's going to be an issue. That's going to be a problem.
yeah, that's gonna be hard because I look at it like this. It's a good thing to be at home, and I have always advocated for the stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home dads, because you have a great involvement with your kids,
Yeah.
and you're able to keep up this means it's like less stress for them. You're able to keep up with what they're doing. I remember one time I had to quit my job because my baby, he was not doing good with his
Hmm.
grades. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't quit. I just put it on hold because I
Right.
would have come back to
Yeah.
it. But I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna, I have to. But it was like an emergency kind of thing.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so I dedicated myself on, helping him with his homework, making sure that he was doing his work. And I think this was during the pandemic,
Hmm.
actually.
Hmm.
And, I did have to talk to the other person and I was like, hey, what do you think? I had a conversation like, tell me what you think. Because, I can pause what I'm doing right now and it's for a good cause. So it's
Right.
not
To make
like
sure that he was, getting up to par with where he needed to be with school, right?
exactly. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like, I didn't want to work or nothing like that. It was just like, hey, something needs to be done about this. If not, there's not going to be no passing grades.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah.
I I made that move. I made that move, and even though it was like we had little hard bumps during that time, it was like I think that we pretty much did real good.
Hmm.
So I was able to get back to work. And even with just during the pandemic, I was working from home the
Yeah.
whole time. I was at home with the kids. It's hard to work from home when you're clocked in somebody else's clock, and you
Yeah.
still try to pay attention to the kids and make sure they're doing their work from school and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's not easy.
That was the
Listen, I wanted to go to
that
the
tested
office.
everybody. That tested everybody, and everybody's questioning themselves as parents when we had to navigate that whole online learning situation. We're like, wait, we're not teachers. We send
Right.
them
I was
off to
like, I don't know what this is.
we send them off to you guys to handle the business, and we just check homework and run through vocabulary words and make sure that the science stuff is done. We don't sit here and do all this. So that in itself was like very eye-opening, and a huge adjustment, I think, for so many families.
Yes.
um and it was definitely an adjustment, and it was definitely odd to have the whole household in the house all at the same time, the entire day, all day long, not going anywhere because
It was
everything.
so hard trying to get them up.
Yes. Yes.
I was like, I don't even want to get up. But
Right.
no, I really think and I really feel like if you are in a position, you know what I'm saying, unless like I said it's like an emergency kind of thing,
Hmm.
people do get sick, you know, and you got to be there for your partner
Right.
or whatever. So if they want to stay at home with the kids while you work, and stuff like that, that's fine. That's fine. I have no problem.
Yeah.
And even if there's not an emergency, I'm still with it. I
Right.
just, I just want people to really think because, like I said, I was in this before. So I would say, just try to make sure you're in a position where you all can enjoy each other um, in a healthy environment because there's a lot of issues that come with people regarding money. Like I said, it's
Hmm.
like if the money is not right, we struggling on bills, we struggling on the rent. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna be good
Right.
because that's a lot of stress on one person,
Right.
especially depending on the size of your household.
Right.
Nowadays, yes, there's a lot of races that are going on and people are getting raised and you know they're getting more money, but at the same time everything is more expensive.
Right. Inflation
So
is just nuts. I mean, the cost of everything, it's just so much. It just costs so much more just to live, just with the basics. Not
mhm,
even talking about doing the extra stuff, just with the basics.
yeah,
you know?
Yes, it's a really if you're not in that position, then of course this does not apply to you.
Right,
Like,
right.
you know, if you're in a position like, hey, I'm making enough money, I don't want you to work, I want you to be at home with the kids, you know what I'm saying? I want you to, be involved with the kids, and I'm gonna do the work and I'm gonna pay the bills. Then, if you live that type of life, like,
Yeah.
good. Because I feel like the kids have more opportunity, you know, with somebody being at home with them.
Yeah.
Because we leave our kids to be raised in other places because
Right.
we have
That's
to
such a good
work.
point. I'm so glad that you said that,
We have
because
to work.
it's very challenging, and it's very concerning with all the stuff that's going on in the world, and all the different stories we hear about and read about. You're worried. I mean, you even have a bit of fear when you send your kids to school. We've talked in other podcasts about bullying and about just different situations, that kids have to deal with when they're, in school. The stresses of school, and then them having to being, exposed to social media and things like that. So, you definitely want to kind of keep them as close as you possibly can, so that you can be a good buffer to some of these things that they're going to go out and they're going to experience. And if they don't get but, an hour or two with you every day because you're
We
at
have
work,
to work.
and your significant other is at work, and by the time you get home, it's like you got to get dinner going, you got to get homework done, they got to jump in the shower and go to bed and get up and do it all again the next day. It's like, you're really having to squeeze in a lot of quality time and conversations, and asking of questions. What happened in school today? What's going on? What's happening? It's always, for me, it's always a cause of concern, and a little bit stressful if I get a call from school or an
Yes.
email from a teacher or something. Oh no, like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong? What's happening? You know what I'm saying? And I
I know, because I'd be like that. I'd be like, oh, what's going on? I gotta go outside.
like, I had a conversation with the assistant principal, like 3 weeks ago. I mean, just, well, it's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time. But anyway,
And
back to,
it also shows that the kids do very good, better. One this, you know, in the surveys that they do better in school if they have a parent that's more involved.
yeah,
Like if I was in a position where I made a lot of money, you know what I'm saying, and I could pay all the bills, and
right,
do stuff like, I'm not saying be rich, but comfortable.
right.
Like, okay, like, of course, yeah, you want to stay at home, okay, fine, because
Hmm.
you know it is better for the kids.
Yeah, it
But
is.
now also, me, I know me. I am I like to contribute.
Yeah,
So even if you tell me that and I stay at home, I'm still doing
you're
something
gonna have your hustle.
from home
Yeah,
with the kids.
that's right.
And they gonna help me.
Yeah, I know that's right.
We're gonna make this money together.
Uh-huh, all of us. Yeah. um I think one of the most important things, to really remember, is that, you're a unit, you're a family. As if you're Especially if you're all in the same household. Now, I'm not talking about you dating somebody and you consider yourselves to be in a relationship and you have kids together, but you live in one place and they live in another place. Now, I'm talking about being under the same roof, under the same household, because there's a lot of that. I'm not talking about someone talking about they gonna stay home, with the kids, and you go to work. while they over there at home. No,
And they're not even taking care of the kids.
no, I'm not. That's not the scenario. The
You
scenario
giving them to
is
somebody else to take care of them.
right. The scenario is you're in the same household underneath the same roof. You both put your keys in the lock and unlock the door to get in, and get out every day in the same unit in the same dwelling. Um, but if you have kids that want to be involved in activities and uh,
Right.
clubs and things like that, it's hard to do that when you're on somebody else's time, when you're working for somebody else and you're not working for yourself. It's hard to manage and to juggle that schedule. If school gets out, let's say at 3:15, and then they have clubs until 5 o'clock, and they need to be picked up by 5:30, but you still have another 2 hours of work before you can even clock out and
Take
leave.
them.
What do you
Yeah.
do? Because they got to get picked up at a certain time. How is it fair for them to not be able to do the extracurricular activities that they want to do, to give them an outlet and to give them a break from just being in the house type
You
situation?
know, those were one of the things that I thought about one time because, I was like, dang, like my schedule is like kind of hectic.
Yeah.
Like my whole day is gone.
Right.
So, um, yeah, like I wish there was a system put in place for the parents to be able to do this for their children. And I think that's where it comes in of how much do people really want to help kids out?
Yeah.
Because it, it's been kind of proven that, if the kids are extracurricular activities, like their minds be more focused on what it is that they love doing versus out here getting in trouble.
Right.
So I would like to see that,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying everywhere is they don't have that, but I haven't come in contact with a place that actually offers that, like the help and assistance to us single parents or parents, both parents that work,
Right.
saying
And
have
have
to
a,
make
and have a
time
schedule. Yeah.
right for the kids because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, we're doing it for the kids. So
Right.
I believe the economy doesn't allow this for many parents.
Right.
And it's sad.
It is. um and I think it impacts your quality of life when you literally are working just so that you can survive and so that you can have the basics. And like I said, I'm not even talking about anything extra, trips and shopping sprees and going to the mall and doing all this and all that. I'm talking about just the basic fundamentals of keeping groceries in the house and having food and stuff to eat and drink and all that kind of stuff, and clothes and whatnot. And it's impactful when your household is in a situation where you can afford to either not be tied to a job with a particular schedule. I think that it's much more favorable for parents that are able to work a job that allows them to have flexibility with their schedule and is understanding of the fact that they taking into consideration that they have children and understanding that and respecting that and not punishing the employees for doing what they need to do as parents.
Mhm.
A lot of times these things at the schools, whether it's like parent teacher conferences and things like that they might start at like 4 o'clock or
Right.
4:30. They might have their um, fall concert. That might be, at 5 o'clock or 5:30. But if you work a job where you don't leave until 7 o'clock, 7:30, but you're getting pushback from management when you want to take off or you want to leave early, so that you can go and support your child, and be there, and go to that parent teacher conference, so you know what's going on in the classroom, so you know why your child is behind, on their homework. And when you look online and see their grade, you know what's going on. You want to be able to be involved. And if you have an opportunity to have that involvement, then I think you should take it. You should utilize it. And if that's dad stepping up to the plate to take over that role, and he's able to be there, I mean, I think it's even better, because we all know like how important it is for dads to be in the lives of their kids. Yes, we're so used to being single moms and doing it by ourselves and doing it on our own, but it shouldn't have to be that way. And we certainly didn't make the baby by ourselves. So we didn't create the child by ourselves. So it should be in the best interest of the child for them to have the involvement of both parents and the support of both parents. And even if you're not in the same household, and this is going off topic a little bit, but even if you're not in the same household, the importance of being there for your kids and co-parenting in a healthy way, and having, a routine established. Maybe you're no longer with the person that you were married to or in a long-term relationship with, that is the, father or mother of your children. But if you have a healthy co-parenting relationship, you should be able to pick up the phone and let them know, like, hey, the job's not going to let me leave early. You're going to need to take the kids to the school for the program or whatever. And they should have no problem doing that. They should be able to understand that work has you jammed up, you in a situation, you don't have a choice, because your job is what brings in the income that your household,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and then some people want to make others feel bad. It's like, well, your job is more important than the kids, but it's not.
No.
Not more important than the kids. But then again, if you don't go, you can get fired, and then what? Me and the
Right.
kids will be out in the streets.
Right.
So yeah, it's like it's a given. It's a give and take because everybody have a different situation. Everybody living arrangements are different.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have to give up something to live a certain way,
Yeah.
but you don't want to live that certain way because you want to make sure that you live in a healthy environment. But
Mhm.
then again, you're stuck in the phase of work, 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 work
Right.
because I want to live or I want to provide, everything I can for my kids and I want to have a decent place for them to live. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that costs too. So,
This really, having this conversation and talking about this, would you support your significant other or your spouse if they decided they wanted to stay home with the kids while you go and work? This further supports, the reasoning and the rationale for us being able to have financial freedom, for us to always, even if you're working a job and you're on someone else's schedule, to still have your own thing going on, so that you can be making passive income, so that you can be making money while you're off doing your other job. This is why people have, why entrepreneurs have multiple businesses,
right. And
multiple they
yeah,
have multiple revenue streams coming in. So yeah, so for them, it's no issue, because the money's coming in from somewhere.
right.
If it
And
frees one of us up to be there more for our kids, so that our kids can live the kind of life that we would like for them to lead, then yeah.
that's right. I mean, the decision of parents, either the mom or the dad staying at home, it doesn't mean your income will have to end.
Right.
In fact, you can definitely plan and strategize some things to be self-employed
Right.
and with just your creativity. I
Yeah.
mean, I've seen people do it. It can be done. You just have to still have the support of the other person because being self-employed is not always gonna go the way it should.
Right.
So, or as you think in the beginning.
Right.
So you still have to have that support, because believe it or not, okay, so self-employed, you're taking a risk.
Yeah.
So everybody ain't gonna quit their
Mm.
jobs, okay?
Right.
But if you clocking in, you know what I'm saying, all you gotta do is go and do your job and your paycheck is secure.
Right.
So if another person is doing that and the other person is doing the self-employed thing, I mean, I think it really can work.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, and you don't need to, then that's different.
Right.
A lot of people don't get that luxury.
Right.
But if you can, you can.
Yeah. I think it's a decision. It's something that you should be thinking about when you're in the situation of kids coming into the picture. That you should be planning, like, what kind of household do you want to have? How do you want your kids to grow up? What kind of things do you want them to be exposed to? What lessons are you going to
Mhm.
teach them at home? Like, what are your principles? These are all conversations that we should be having before we even start having kids. But it's like we don't get to those conversations until after the
Yes, we
are already
do. We need to get to them. We need to, because that's a very good point. Like, you need to be having those conversations early on.
Yeah, there's
And
times we don't get to it until the kids are already here, and it's like, okay.
I needed to have that conversation early on. So I wanted to ask a question,
Yeah.
and make sure you comment down below because I want to know. In what instance you would not support your significant other being a stay-at-home parent?
Oh, yes. That's a good question.
So make sure you drop it down in the comments and let us know.
Yeah.
But I want to know your opinion. I mean, your answer.
A reason why I would not support it,
Hmm.
if it's going to put us in a situation where we're struggling financially.
Mm.
If we're going to be struggling financially, I'm not going to put us in a predicament that's going to cause stress and extra strife and make the household chaotic. I'm not going to be in support of that. If we're going to have to struggle, just to make it, then it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't
Right.
make any sense
I
to put
think
yourself
about
in a
the future. You
hmm?
know, I say you're right because you need to think about the future as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
What's a situation, and what's your answer to the question, and when you wouldn't support it?
The same.
Yeah.
If it's gonna put us in a financial burden, then if I have my legs and my hands and I can see and I can talk and everything and I'm able, then I want to help too because I don't want to be in a financial burden of, you know what I'm saying? Like you trying to go out here and make it for us and I'm not doing nothing.
And there's a lot of people, and a lot of women that don't want to be financially dependent, on their spouse, even if their spouse or significant other is saying, "Hey, I got you. I got the bills, I got the rent, I got the mortgage, I got the utilities, I got everything. I'm paying everything. I got it. So you don't have to work." But there's some women that are so strongly independent that they don't want to allow themselves to be leaning on somebody else to take care of their necessities or whatever. Or, and some of the research that I did, some of
But
this.
if you're in that situation, I would say like you could still do something,
Yeah.
and you can now that would be a great time to like find out what you really want to do.
And I
Like,
was going to
express
say,
your creativity.
yeah, that's a great answer too. But what I was going to say is, if I'm in a situation where um the finances are covered, the bills and everything is taken care of or what have you, and I don't have to work, but I want to work because it's part of who I am as a person, working, then I'm gonna stack coins and save and save up for being able to do those things that we want to do. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make sure, if in case something happens, or because you never know, like you said, somebody could get sick, somebody could have an accident, and they
But
might need time to recover.
yeah. And then also you have people that just don't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna put it out there too. Okay. So that would be another reason for me to say, no, you got to get up. Because if I still got to be called and I'm at work and you at home,
Right.
we got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to stay
The
there.
school is calling me and I'm at work, but
Because
you
now you misusing the time.
yeah. Yeah. That's not, yeah, that's not a good situation. That's not a good situation. Oh my goodness. Did anybody respond to the question? Did they put any response in the comment?
Nobody has responded. We'll leave it though. They'll
Okay.
come back and see it.
They'll come back and they can respond then. Well, I just want to, I guess, wrap it up by saying that, ultimately the goal when you have a family is that, you're a unit. You have a partner, you have a team, you have a support system, you've got coverage, you got the front, they got the front, you got the back, you got the back, they got the front, like whatever, roles that work for your relationship and your household, that's fine. But I think that we need to do a better job of establishing, what those roles and what those responsibilities are. Like, we don't have to, just accept certain things because it's what society says is supposed to be the case. The man
Right.
is supposed to go out and this and this and this, and the woman is supposed to do the cooking and the cleaning and the da 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 da. I know plenty of people that say that, their man cooks a lot, that they cook, almost do as almost as much as the cooking as they might do. And I think that's great. And they, can do laundry and they can mow the lawn and can cut the grass and, and things like that, and can contribute to the household overall.
I
It's
don't know how to mow the lawn. So
you can hire a landscaper.
it may go everywhere.
You could hire a
I
landscaper.
might run over your feet.
Oh, you could hire a landscaper. But I think having those conversations and really having an understanding of what when you think about having a family, like, what does that look like to you? What is that? What do what do you see yourself doing? What do you see the other person doing? And get their answers, and make sure that their answers are something that you're comfortable with, because a lot of times we don't find this stuff out until after the fact. We already in a situation. Kids
That's
are
why
already
we
here.
talking about it now. So if
Yeah.
you're listening,
Yeah.
listen to it carefully.
Carefully. Yeah. Any other thoughts you have?
I know. I just, I think that it can be done, but of course you have to have that communication with your partner. If that's something that fits your lifestyle, then, you know, I'm rooting for you.
Rooting for you. We want you to win.
Exactly.
We want you to win. Yeah. I mean, if you like it, I love it. If it works for you, great.
If it works, yeah,
If it works for
but
you,
just don't put yourself in a burden.
yeah, don't put yourself in a situation where you're stressed and your pressure's going up and you're having panic attacks and you just hair falling out. You don't put yourself in no bind,
Right.
to try to quote unquote be
Don't let no one put you in a bind.
right, to try to be supportive. You should not have that kind of stress. It should not be a stressful situation. If it's going to be stressful, then I say don't do it. If you
Hmm.
see it working and you have all the details, worked out, and you can work through the kinks and the bumps in the road that you're going to experience, then hey.
And just in case, if anybody's asking, well, what about if they don't want to work and it don't matter how many times I tell them to go to work, just stop working. I'm just, they gonna get up and go to work.
You're going to go to this job. You're going to go to the, you're going to, you're going to go
It's
to
some people like that for real though.
yes.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. And have the
Sometimes you gotta teach people a lesson.
yeah, you do. You got to set them boundaries, dot them I's, cross them T's, set the
Yeah, because some
proper
people take advantage. I'm not gonna lie. And
right.
this situation is kind of skeptical because a lot of people take advantage.
Yeah,
And if you're not careful with it, you would be doing the whole parenting, the whole working, and the whole toll is gonna be on you. Like seriously speaking.
right. And it's like if we're going to be in that type of situation, then why are you even here? Because I can do this by myself then.
I almost dropped everything. Yeah, you gonna be by yourself. See, you said something then. The camera done moved and everything.
The spirit that moved through the phone.
Through the phone. See, you felt what I was saying. You know,
Yeah.
it happens.
Oh, all right, y'all. Well, thank you for joining us tonight for another episode. What are we talking about next week?
I don't know yet.
Don't know yet. Well,
Yeah.
I know you'll keep us posted in the group. That's
But
why.
if y'all have any ideas or any topics that y'all want me to talk about, just put it in the group
Yes.
and we'll come up. I think I want to have other people on here.
Yeah,
So, some guests. So, we'll see.
that sounds good. I'm down for that.
All right.
All right, y'all. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our regular contributors to the group topic conversations whenever we put posts up. We have our regular folks that be jumping on with their comments and their thoughts, and we just really appreciate that. It means a lot to us, and it really helps to keep us going with trying to come up with topics that we think are going to be interesting and of something that you guys can take something from it, learn something from it, you know relate to it,
I think
have
we all learn from it.
yeah,
Like, having these conversations to me is like very comforting.
it is. It is, and I love to absorb new information and get new information. I love to learn new things, and so when someone answers a question, sometimes there'll be answers or there'll be responses, and it's like, wow, I
Right.
never even thought about that. And so it's got me thinking in a whole different direction, and it has
And it's unique. I was just about to say that. It's so unique because you get to, like, everybody has a different opinion. You know what
right.
I'm saying? So it's like, I like to put myself, and I wasn't like this,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm more open minded now where I can really put myself into, like, why would they see it like that?
Right.
Why would that be their opinion? But I'm still like, want to put myself in their shoes, basically,
Right.
see it
Right.
from that point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
It's unique.
it is. And we like it. We appreciate it. So thank you all for contributing in the group and commenting on our posts. Check us out on Instagram, Real Chill Conversations, if you're not following us there. Of course, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check us
That's
out. I mean, watch on YouTube, watch in the group, however you want to watch. Just make sure you're watching. That's all we ask. Tell a friend, share it. We appreciate all of the love.
that's right.
Yeah. Until next time, everybody,
Bye bye.
y'all have a great one. Have a great whole week until you see us again.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Peace out.